So I done one to make sure I couldn't mess it up, but just got the two compression rings opposite each other, and the oil rings are 90 degrees opposite each other. Basically, there's instructions online, you can look it up, there's a whole manual. The rods, one thing was to get the rod apart, because it's pretty tight. Just give it the old whacky with the hammer, sort of hold the rod at an angle, and I whack it just there with a bit of wood, obviously not a bit of metal, but that's not where the crank runs, because obviously you put your bearings in there, so that surface there is not too important. Good. Because they're pretty tight. It comes off. There's numbers printed on them, so you can't get it wrong when you realign them. Whack half a bearing. If you were working in a fancy engine building shop, you'd have like rubber mats on the floor in case you drop your piston, especially if you're building like forged motors, cool stuff. But this is a proper race motor. It's all high risk. Put on later. The old favourite ring compressor. Worst thing ever. Double check your ring gaps haven't moved, which they have, so. Happy days. Just suck it on. Pretty much as tight as it'll go. Flip your old motor over. Rotate the crank down out of the way. It's got a dot on the top of the piston that goes towards the front. The pistons are also marked 1 through 6. Just, you can't mess it up. The good thing about building engines is they were designed to go together. It's like playing with Lego. If it's not going together, you're really doing it wrong. You should probably take up canoeing or something. Insert. Whack. Tell you what, SR20s are more fun to build because they're easier to rotate. Light. A little bit of oil on the bearing. Bottom half of the bearing. You can use a screwdriver or something to guide it up. Just onto the crank. Careful not to scratch any surfaces. Probably shouldn't use metal things really. Oil in there. Just be careful when I'm pushing my bearings in, because they're a softer metal. Then obviously the rods, when you're pushing them in, they can scrape off little burrs and stuff. And just have a quick check before you go putting it into your engine that there's no little burrs hanging off the edge or something. Yeah, I'm lazy. Check that it goes round and round. Happy days. And that's one. Now I'm going to do another 4. You don't need to see that, so we'll just like time lapse or something. Pretty boring, but kind of fun and therapeutic. Alrighty, time to chuck the head studs and that in, chuck the head on. So I've cleaned both surfaces, cometic multi-layer steel head gasket, chuck that on there and put the head studs in, ARP head studs, and dang ARP, stupid Imperial. I had to grind down a metric Allen key to screw them in. Very irritating. And the RB, they're so far down the hole, it's very hard to get the nut on without dropping it. So just get a bit of electrical tape and fold it over the end of your socket. Makes the nut stay on there. Yay. Doesn't fall out. So you can get them in there. Got to put the grease in there. ARP grease comes with. Apparently if you don't, torque settings will be not quite right. So comes with torque settings on the instructions. Probably one of those things that boys should read. Nah. Chip. So I've screwed in all the head studs, so I'm just going along and greasing the nuts and putting them on, and then I'll torque it down. Happy days. Alrighty. So all the nuts and the washers is on all my studs. Happy days. So just spun them down with the old rattle gun. How dare he? Don't you turn those nuts with a rattle gun? But I did, and in a clockwise directions. And now the instructions say in 3 equal steps we do 90 foot-pounds with our super cheap torque wrench, no less. Let me tell you, there is nothing more accurate in this planet, on this planet, in it, on it, around it. So there you go. China rods, reused the pistons, gave them a bit of a clean, bit of a soak, sloshed the old rings around, didn't even take them off, left them on there. Slot those bad boys straight in the bore. Whack on the MLS head gasket, cometic, cheapest one I could get. And probably didn't need it because I read online later on, after I bought it, that the standard head gasket will do 400 kilowatts, which came in my gasket kit, which is sitting over there on top of that box. So I'm not going to use that. I bought that instead for $100. And the head studs, what are they, $400? Maybe, ish, $400 for the head studs, $100 for the head gasket, $500 of non-performance adding parts. Just stop the head from lifting when we jam 25 pounds through it. So, torque these suckers up and then put the oil pump on, I guess. It's exciting, isn't it? Exciting when you're building. It's not very exciting. Boring video. Sorry. Get some snacks. Alrighty. Torqued the head down to specs that was written on the papers, and I followed the very important numbering mostly. Now I gotta put all my cam gear in, so when I pull the head apart I always lay it out exactly where it comes from and put it back exactly where it comes from. The saddles, everything, don't mix them up, otherwise you need to take it to the machine shop and get that stuff machined again, line board or something. But we're not doing that because that is not free. This is the budget build, DIY. Try to make as much power as we can with as minimal dollars as we can that is reliable. So buckets. Intake, obviously, intake cam, exhaust cam, they go on the left. Driver side of the head, got some oil. Give it a good coat in there. Try not to drop the oil on the ground. Uh-oh. Didn't think about this. Missed one hand. Did we? Slot him in the... Try and put it in straight. Jesus, what you've done. There we go. One. So on and so forth. Dump them in oil. They've been sitting there, so the oil's drained out of them. These are hydraulic because they're series 1. Tiny little hole in the side there, in the groove. Hole in the top. Oil comes through the gallery on the side. Down on the board there, you can see it. Into the side of your hydraulic lifters. And then if you actually squeeze this, I won't squeeze it, but I can squeeze it. It's not very good. Can you see it? Moves. So they're hydraulic. They fill up with oil, and then they don't ever need shimming because they're hydraulic, which is good. But and super high RPMs, hydraulic's no good, and that's when you need to go to tall lifters and things to get accurate lift on your cams and your valves, and let's put the oil on it. Stuff. So, but for us, our low budget maximum power, low budget build. Good enough. Good enough. So the oil goes in from the gallery, through the groove, around the groove, in through the hole, out through the top, runs down, fills up your head, and goes into your catch can, apparently. It's an RB. Nah, we fixed all that. We're going to fix all that with our breathing issues. Anyway, I'll do this. More time-lapsing. It's pretty boring, isn't it? Sorry, long video of time-lapsing and boring stuff. I've got beer though, and shapes, so I'm good. Whoa, this oil is going to end up on the floor any second. What, mate? Trying to put a round peg in a square hole? No, there we go. You're just doing it wrong. Yeah, you get the idea. Lube them up. That's why I like to soak them in oil, so because they're going back in here. I'll clean this head so it's all degreased, so there's no oil anywhere. So you got to make sure you put oil on, so when you go to start up, it's all nice and slippery. Nothing scores. Don't score the bores. Nothing like that. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. I did say the pistons were labelled 1 through 6. They're not. That was a mistake on my part. Don't believe everything you see on the YouTubes. Yeah. I put the bottom end at top dead center, so I can throw the cams in at top dead center position, and then yeah, chuck the saddles on, tighten it all down. Stay tuned if you can be bothered. Alrighty, happy days. So I've tightened down all the cam caps. I can't put the cam covers on or the backing plate which goes behind the cam gears. This thing, because I'm going to get it painted not black. So, and the cam covers are there. And I want to get those painted as well, same color as that backing plate thingy. So that goes on behind the sprockets. So I can't put that on yet, but I can put the oil pump on. So yeah, gasket, oil pump. So this is from what I've read, this is a Neo oil pump, brand new, Nissan, genuine part. Obviously I've fitted the spline drive gears into it. But I believe the Neo and the N1 oil pump are the same pump. So yeah, which is I think it's a higher pressure pump than the Series 1 pump, which normally comes on this motor. So I've got my spline driver thingy on there, sweated on by the machine shop. Hopefully they do a good job and it doesn't crack or anything. And that's in there. So, chuck the gasket on, bolt this up. Yeah. There it is. Oh, old age. This thing's been sprayed in a light oil to keep it from rusting in the packet. So, give that a wipe as well around the area that we wanted to seal on. Like this pump they sell for about $1,000. The spline drive is $700. Makes you cry, doesn't it? Once again, a non-performance adding reliability part. Fuck, if this thing ever breaks, I'm gonna cry. There you go. We need that, apparently, so we can kick the crap out of the clutch and shock our oil drive as much as we want. Where's the bolts? We don't need bolts. Calm down. Ooh, beer. Wait. Look. Oh. Conveniently labelled lunch bags. Oil pump and rear main. Oh, mix them together. It's 5 minutes of my life I'll never get back. Too old. I was running out of lunch bags, so some things had to go together. Nice and shiny. I degreased them and carby cleaned them prior to this, so they're nice. Which bolt goes where? Yep, I reckon. Nope. Yep. Bottom left. Bottom right. Something on the top. Something on the top. What? Bottom left. Bottom right. Oh, I've got the music on. The YouTube's not gonna like that, is it? Listening to my favorite One Hit Wonders playlist. It's the best. Not actually. I did watch a video on the oil pump install where they actually had a spacer which centered the oil pump perfectly to the drive. It was PRP. And but then obviously you cut the dowels off and center or pull the dowels out and pull the dowels out so you don't have the dowels, and then you center the actual gear perfectly to the drive so that it doesn't actually sit to one side of it. And then you have to bolt up your oil pump, take it to the machinist and get him to deck the bottom of the block and the oil pump so it's flat, so it sits good with your sump. Needless to say, we're not spending that $400. See, mate? Oh. So the instructions says I've got to torque to the bolts. Hey bolt, please be good, bolt. It's gonna be a long time since I touched you again, hopefully 5 to 6 years. And then, you know, maybe we'll touch you again, but apart from that, you've just got to stay here and be good. Don't break, don't fall off, don't come loose. And then, you know, good things will happen. Hope you're feeling good about it. Here's a little bit for the homies. Oh, this is gonna be a good engine. I've got a feeling about this one. Just like, look at the presence. You're feeling the aura of fire. Hopefully the fire is inside of the engine. We don't really want the fire on the outside of the engine. Does that feel about 12 Newton meters? I reckon it does. 12. 12. 12. 12. 12. 12. Oh, 14. Oh, shit. Oh. Magic. Yep. What now? Cranksy. I've got to check the. I've got to do some things. Oh. Right. Got to flip her over. Check the main cap bolts. Hold that thought. Alright, the oil pump's on, the oil pickup I've put on. It's my custom one that I heated up and bent back so it pointed in the right direction, because normally it's front sump, but I'm doing rear sump, so it goes there. And the rear main seal's on. I put a new rear main seal in. A new seal in the bottom of the pickup. So I just gotta put some goo on there, and then I can glue the sump on. And it's the spot that the hole that I made bigger to accept the meshy, what do you call it? Strainer. But yeah, do that. Then that's the bottom done. So it'll be a good achievement for today. There you have it. That's the sump on. Got the bolts on all the way under there. Oh, missed one. Shit. That's it. RB28 diesel sump, rear sump on the RB25. Modified bit, touch. That's it. Right, one more bolt. I had to use the washers because the holes in the diesel sump are like 10 mil, because it has some sort of crazy space rubber gasket. Rather than using silicone, it uses like a big rubber gasket the whole way around, which has like little step shoulders that stick through the holes. So you have to buy washers if you're going to do this. Anyway, there you go. Happy days.